A new winner, another new podium finisher, and a title battle going down to the wire. Let's talk about the British round of the European Rally Championship. Let's talk about, for the second time, JDS Machinery Rally Ceredigion. And I think we do need to start off with the winners, John Armstrong and Shane Byrne. Their first podium, well, John Armstrong's first podium, was a year ago on the finale in Silesia. He then ended up picking up 2 podiums with Byrne this year. This is his 4th ERC podium, and followed up 2nd place on the Bahrain Rally, where he was really close to Jan Kopecki of all people, the man who is Mr. Bahrain, and won by 30 seconds. Perhaps the most impressive stage was the penultimate one, where he found 15 seconds in 15 kilometers. Just a magnificent, magnificent run. Which is not to undermine the person in 2nd place, because that is also an impressive story. And in fact, one thing that links the two of them together is they both came up through Sim Rally, through gaming, to become these successful rally drivers. Because in 2nd place, both for the ERC and the BRC, is Roman Jurgensen. Magnificent run from Jurgensen, who was, battling his teammate, John Armstrong. And for the FII Rally Star graduate, somebody who came from being a video game graduate to the junior WRC champion last year, to a WRC2 bid, bookended with the British Rally Championship, and now we hear 2 ERC rounds. This one here in Ceredigion, and he's going to go to the finale in Croatia as well. He was able to hold off his title rival, the BRC William Crichton, by 46 seconds. It was a great run, and if Armstrong wasn't there, it would have been another win in the BRC, but M Sport entered Armstrong for this event, which helps their title bid as a team, if only making it a little bit more difficult for Jurgensen to pick up the British Rally Championship crown. I think it's 1.5 times points, so actually there is a bit of a benefit for Jurgensen here anyways. But the BRC finale goes down to Ceredigion. Rounding out the podium overall though, and for the ERC, was Miko Marcek, another one of the title protagonists. We'll talk about Mabellini in a moment, because that is one hell of a story. Mabellini would have been 4th had it not been for the 2-minute penalty. Marcek did what he had to do, and was 30 seconds clear of Crichton, 14.5 seconds behind Jurgensen, but most importantly kept on the road, picked up some stuff in the power stage, keeps that title bid alive. I think it's 2 points the gap when you take into account drop scores, which again, we'll look at the standings in a few moments' time. But we will talk about Mabellini quickly. He got a 2-minute penalty before the event started, and it's an interesting chain of events. 2 of his engineers were found on the stage on, I think, Tuesday evening. And they were like, oh, our car hasn't arrived yet, so we got bored, so we decided to go out to the stages. Mabellini supposedly had them fired, their contracts terminated, and then put in a request to have the car moved elsewhere in the service park. I believe it was closer to another Skoda team so that they could share a pool of mechanics. And that sounds like, okay, they got ahead of the curve on it. However, it transpired that these messages happened after they were originally summoned to the stewards for the incident, so they got the same penalty nonetheless. They got a 2-minute penalty. They were still the best in qualifying, and they comfortably won the power stage. They got 6th overall. But it is a kind of what could have been moment in the end, because, well, it's just had a massive impact on their event. Take those 2 minutes off, they are 2 places further up. They're in 4th. They're behind Marcek. Now, would they have been on that same kind of level had they not been completely pushing for those 2 days? I don't know. That's another kind of what could have been. but this is a big deal when you factor in the championship picture. Because in terms of net points, when you factored in drop scores, Mabellini was ahead coming into Ceredigion, and now he's behind. Elsewhere for ERC3, Eamon Kelly ended up picking up the win. It's quite a comfortable one, nearly 25 minutes clear of Hubert Kowalczyk, who was second, and nearly an hour clear of Timek Aperovsky, who is in third. Aperovsky will not be in the ERC3 at the final round in Croatia. He's making a Rally 2 debut with M Sport behind the wheel of a Fiesta. So we're going to have a lot of M Sport Fiestas in Croatia. Meanwhile, in ERC4, Johan Lloyd ends up comfortably just taking the win. I think a lot of the other ones in the Rally 4 class were not entered for ERC4, moreover just entered for the British Rally Championship. And then in the Masters, Martin Vlicek ended up taking the win by 3 minutes over Eamon Boland, which means that he has a comfortable, I think, 12-point advantage over Bidrinski going into the final round. His teammate, of all things. But I do also want to point out, because of the ways that all of these entries work out for national and international, this has meant that Eamon Kelly finished in 8th place overall as the lead ERC3, and we had a 2-wheel drive car in the top 10, Johan Lloyd in 9th. I'll quickly talk about some of the other finishes for the British Rally Championship. So yeah, Callum Black ends up with 4th place ahead of Myron Evans, and Myron Evans ended up rolling on the Saturday. It's impressive the car made it to the end of the stage, let alone the end of the rally. And he's just clear of Carl McBride, who just pipped Joseph Kelly on the final test for the Junior BRC. Megan O'Kane and Nicky Addison were in 3rd in that class, ahead of Gary Pearson, who had to Super Rally, Callum Graffin, who had to Super Rally, and Max McRae, who had to Super Rally. Bless. Slid into a ditch, got hit by Johan Lloyd, who understeered at the same corner a couple of cars down the road. Suspension damage forced him to retire for the day. But let's talk points, let's talk standings now. Mirko Marcik is now on 146 points, Andrea Mabellini on 131, John Armstrong on 113. All three are mathematically in contention for the championship, I believe. Because if you factored in the drop scores, right now it's a drop score of 13 for Mirko Marcik, taking him down to 133 points. John Armstrong is on 113 points. Now, if Marcik didn't score, Armstrong is still in contention, but he would need nearly a perfect weekend in Croatia. He would need the win. He'd also need at least 3 points on the power stage, because then it would go to countback, and it would be 2 wins for Armstrong to none for Marcik. Weird to think, we've got 2 title protagonists who haven't won yet. But, yeah. Marcik is on 146, Mabellini is on 131. The maximum score that Marcik can have is 158. So for Mabellini, what he's going to have to hope for is a good performance, ideally a win in Croatia. Now, Mabellini did win the finale last year in Ceredigion. They aren't the same rally. They are quite different rallies. And not only that, you do have Roman Jurgensen there, who was competitive in the Junior WRC. Did he do WRC2 as well? No, he wouldn't have done it this year because it wasn't in the calendar this year. That's why it's in the ERC. But it is between those 3 drivers. In the teams, it is also close. MRF and M Sport are separated by 17 points. Hence, M Sport pulling out the stops and bringing Jurgensen along to the finale. You've got 2 guys who are quick on tarmac. It could easily be that we see either Mabellini or Marcik win, and then we see the team's championship go to M Sport as well. So M Sport could come away from the finale with 2 championships in the ERC, well 3 because co-drivers as well, but they could also quite likely come away with 1, or technically 0, but most likely, given all of this, 1. In the ERC3, Abramovsky is very close to sealing it. No power stage points in ERC3, but he would need results to go his way in the finale. 156 points. He is 25 points clear of Kowalczyk, but with the win awarding a total of 30 points. Second place, 24 points. He's going to have to hope that somebody beats Kowalczyk in the finale. It is possible. It is likely. Rvenchak is going to probably compete because it's his home round. So, Rvenchak has been good there before. He's just going to have to hope for that. Because then that helps me with my predictions. Because I thought that the ERC 3 champion would also be the Fiesta Rally Trophy champion. As for ERC 4, Johan Lloyd is 20 points behind Kalle Karlberg. Depends if Lloyd does the finale. But I think Karlberg, wow. He's not going to be competing in Croatia, is he? Because he's got the championship for the junior ERC. I think he's making the step up in the final round already. But it is between the two of them because Victor Hansen is outside of it. 31 points behind Lloyd, 51 behind Karlberg. So then for the juniors, if we talked about that, it is Karlberg's and quite comfortably. But Lloyd and Ryhill could see it go down to the wire. The same for Jasper Var. If Sergi Perez Jr. comes in as well for the finale, I mean, in theory, even Keelan Grogan, who's in 6th, is in with a shout. So there we go. A title decider in the BRC, a title decider in the ERC. I might do a separate review for the ITV coverage of the British Rally Championship, but I have talked a little bit about it here. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining. And I hope to see you again soon for more. Bye-bye for now.